Another one. When you see this, what is it going to remind you? One thing and one only. When Kevin Daves struck and killed Janavi Kundulin going 74 miles an hour 25 zone. Right here. Check this out. Cop fairly runs over innocent black mom at full speed, returns to work. Yes. It is astonishing. Check it out.
Cop fatally runs over a black mother, returns to duty. Here's a reminder of what happened.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my God, go! I did. I already did. CPR in progress. My mom. My mom.
Unbelievable.
Put up the picture for man.
Here it is.
The cop who fatally ran over black mother has now returned to duty. Desire Poole ran over by Shelby Kennedy. She was run over in front of her family, 41 years of age, Miss Poole, fatally hit by a Houston police officer. More than 2 months ago, the family is furious after learning that the officer seen killing her on dash cam is back on duty. Video from inside Officer Shelby Kennedy's vehicle showed her traveling along Antoine Pinemont, 9:52 p.m. This was September 19th.
I'd like to know how fast she was going.
Full speed.
Full speed, okay.
Into a group of 3 people. A 4th person could be seen standing on an island in the middle of the street. Everyone managed to jump out of harm's way except the 41-year-old Desire Poole. Miss Poole was later pronounced dead at the hospital. HPD said her group was not standing in a marked crosswalk during the crash. The victim's mother, Patricia Barnes, believes Officer Kennedy should still have been paying attention to the road. Barnes explained that Poole, her 2 children, and a friend had gotten off a bus and were crossing the street at the time of the crash. When asked why they stopped and stood in the middle of the road, Barnes said she could not share more details because their family is considering legal action. Now, let's put up the picture, the screenshot again. And the officer is heard saying at this point, whoa, 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 okay? Just because someone is standing in the street, it does not give you the legal authority to kill them. This would be the wild, wild west. Even if a pedestrian is outside of the pedestrian crosswalk, crossing the street, you still have a reasonable duty to preserve life. As of Monday, the Houston police would not disclose how fast Kennedy was going while driving, red flag there. Sighting is still part of the investigation. The closest sign to the scene of the crash states that the speed limit is 35 miles per hour.
So there was a main traffic drag.
Kennedy was back on the job after initially being placed on administrative leave, despite what they call an ongoing investigation. A spokesperson claimed this is protocol, and it doesn't mean that the officer has been cleared of any wrongdoing, which Barnes feels is unjustified. Let's back up for a moment. So the police department, they decided to release other details, but they will not release details as to if the car was breaking the speed limit. Now, that officer, who according to the police department is still under investigation.
Yeah. No, did the police department double down, sitting there saying, oh, they were in an adjacent crossway? It doesn't matter. There are a lot of streets that are crosswalks or sometimes far and few. And most of the time, crossways only come in like an intersection or like a traffic light. People are going to cross the street. There could be like 6 blocks away, a mile away from the nearest crosswalk. So I just think it's funny that people make an assumption like, oh, you're supposed like if you're supposed to walk a mile down the street, you use the crosswalk to get in there and say, no, screw that. People are going to cross the street without a crosswalk. You know, people that cross the street, like if I cross the street, I'm going to use my judgment. Like I'll wait till there's like no cars coming for quite a while before I cross the street.
Allegedly, has returned back to work. But don't.
And the thing about Genevieve Condola, she was in a marked crosswalk. But still, Kevin Dave was not even indicted. Prosecutors failed to even charge him. So what does that tell you? Oh yeah, the cops mean a lot more than the citizens do. Then you got police departments that want to double down and do their so-called cop-splaining by then releasing all the deal. They'll release tidbits of details, like a little bit here and there, but they don't release all the details. It's like the old saying, they'll just scratch the surface, but they won't delve into the deep point of it.
Look into it. Don't think that just because we've allowed her to return back to work, that somehow we're biased. The reality is this. If she was not breaking the speed limit, they would have released the information already. You know it, I know it.
We all know it.
Number two, if you are breaking the speed limit and you happen to kill someone, but it was unintentional, you go to jail for vehicular homicide, manslaughter.
Vehicular manslaughter.
Typically a murder 3.
Or like most cases, what would that be to? What would that be? 8 to 25. And most people would be pleaded down to man 2, vehicular manslaughter, man 2. That would, most of the time that would be down to about 4 to 12. But the fact this cop does this crap, there's an ongoing investigation, but she just go right back out there, right back to work. If we did it, we'd be sitting in a freaking cell with a high-end bond or with no bond.
You did not intend to kill someone.
No. Yeah, I get that.
But your violation of the law led to the danger of the individual. Thus, you are responsible.
Yeah, and plus, the way, I bet you 10 to 1, this officer probably is going at least 75, maybe 80 miles an hour. Probably didn't even have lights on, just like Kevin Dave. Didn't even have lights or siren on. No. I mean, when you're driving, you are supposed to pay attention. Be aware of your surroundings as well. That's what they tell you. When you're driving, you're supposed to be aware of your surroundings. Let me bring up a point as well, too. A lot of times when I go to the ocean shores, the evening comes around, there are a lot of deer. A lot of deer. The speed limit on Ocean Shores Drive on Brown Springs is 35. Yes, I get that. But a lot of times when I go out there, I go deer watching. I don't like to be in a car that goes maybe more than 30, maybe 25, because sometimes they're deer on the middle of the road. And I have videos and pictures to show that. Deer standing in the middle of the road. So you got to be aware of your surroundings. You can't be just like that. No, you have to be. You got to mind your P's and your Q's. Be all around. It's like 360 security surveillance.
Even if to a lesser degree, for the homicide.
Yes.
This is how it would work for you and I.
Oh yeah.
But clearly, not those who are the enforcers of law. There's more.
Not for the people that wear the blue.
They're currently conducting 2 investigations at this time. One with IA, Internal Affairs.
Well, it's just like the last story I did about Sonia Massey's, that cop that's supposedly going to release. I guess it comes to this day and age where, when we screw up, we don't get no special treatment. We got to pay the piper and the price, or we got to pay some fine, or we got to go to jail. I guess when cops screw up, they get special treatment. They get a pat in the back, or they get a slap on the wrist. We always talk about we hold police officers to the higher standard of any other person. We hold them a higher standard to a garbage man, the mailman, UPS driver, the FedEx driver, the cashier down the grocery store, the stocky boy, our transit bus drivers, yes, our firemen. We hold police officers higher standard than that. So what do you think when they're holding a higher standard that they should be scrutinized a little bit more? Oh no, they're hardly screwed. They're screwed way less because they got the one thing called qualified immunity to back them up.
And the other with their vehicular crimes division.
Yeah.
Once completed, the findings will be presented to the Harris County DA's office for a decision, who is also conducting their own independent investigation. The irony is, they're basically investigating if she was breaking the speed limit or not, because once you determine she's breaking the speed limit, you thus have a violation.
Yep. You were caught
Why did it
speeding.
take so long to find out if someone was breaking the speed limit? I mean, the police will pull you over, determine immediately you broke.
Yeah. And here's another kicker. Usually, and not all states, but in some states and certain jurisdictions, if people are caught speeding over 25 miles per hour, they go right to jail. They don't get a ticket. They go right to jail. This officer probably was doing triple that. But also, she goes back to work like a couple days later. Yeah.
The speed limit. Inside of most police cruisers, you actually have a monitor that will say exactly how fast the cop was going at a particular time. Why?
Just like
Because
all
they
of our
utilize
cars in
that
there. We got
in
speedometers.
prosecutions all over the United States of America. That is metadata. So they don't have access to the data. They don't have access to how fast the cop was going.
Yeah.
Did the cop tell you how fast she was going? I mean, why is this so difficult to obtain? All right, why isn't it obviously a bunch of smoke and mirrors? If this would have been a citizen, if this would have been just a driver, closed case immediately.
Yeah.
So
Slam
I
dunk,
recently
yeah.
had to take a defensive driving class here in LA because unfortunately I made the mistake. I took a red light. They got me on the red light camera. I did as a citizen, they said, hey, you got to take your defensive driving class. It was like 2
Let me bring up another point before I just let this roll through. Usually people that get a CDL license have to go through vigorous defensive driving training and courses, like truck drivers, people that drive big rigs, semis, bus drivers as well too.
hours, damn near. And like legitimately a class. And I would say about 80% of this is literally how do you avoid pedestrians. It's like
Yeah.
literally like your number one job as a driver, as a civilian anyway. I don't know about cops. I don't claim to know what their protocol is.
Yeah.
Is avoiding civilians. Like literally.
Exactly.
I just had to do this a few months ago. It's the biggest thing you try to.
And another thing about when you're driving a road well too is when you see pedestrians, civilians cross the street, even if there's no marked crosswalk, you let them go because what did they tell you in the scripture, a book? Pedestrians have the right of way. I mean, you don't need to be a big head hot shot to say, "Oh, I'm in a rush." Just so what? It's going to take them 5, 10, 15 seconds. Whoopee. Okay, 15 seconds out of your day. Just let them cross the street, get to point A to point B. It's no big deal.
Avoid. So that's a one. Clearly, this woman was speeding, or the
Oh, yeah.
officer was speeding. And two, like you mentioned, the metadata, Dr. Richie. If there's a GPS in this car, which I'm 1,000% sure there is, they know how fast she was going.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Period.
They're just trying to
Period.
cover for her
Amen.
butt.
That's it. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt about it. And so this idea that they can't figure it out, there's just slow rolling this thing.
Exactly.
And
They're-
they've come to
they're
the
just trying to
conclusion
stall
that there's
it.
not
That's what
going to
they're
be
trying to
any
do.
punishments for this woman, this officer smacking into this citizen, man. Like this is crazy. And I guess to them, Dr. Richie is just like, look, we're HPD. We probably got a nice sized police budget, and that's what it's for. We're gonna pay the family off, and damages in civil court, and we're gonna move on. We're gonna wipe our hands with this as if this never happened, and no.
Yeah, and I wonder as well too. They got a nice budget. Harris County, Houston Police Department. They got a nice budget. They'll probably say, Oh, we'll just write him a check. We'll just write the family for a check for like $50,000. Kind of like what Daniel Otter said when his fucking bigot stupid statement. Oh, just write their family Genovia could do it. Just write a check for $11,000. Yeah, I mean, that's what cops trying to do. Just brush it up like it's nothing. Oh, one dead person. Oh well, life goes on. No, 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 no. It's about accountability. It's about transparency.
Officer is going to take the lesson that maybe, just maybe, we should avoid smacking into citizens on the road. And again, and I would just say this to the audience, not that it would even be understandable, but like if this officer was in some type of high-speed chase with a serial killer or something, and we had to get this person off the street, I could imagine the citizenry being like, all right, man, like this is horrible. Like this was a chase with a criminal, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
This
size and
person was
liars
just
on.
allegedly
Someone who's a
cruising
danger to
through the
society.
streets and killed somebody in the process. This is just unacceptable.
And you bring up a great irony, brother, when you said if they were chasing somebody in pursuit of a dangerous felon, there would be more, understanding from the general community, perhaps.
Yeah.
But even in that, the obligation to the officer is to not put an innocent person in harm's way while pursuing someone you believe has committed a crime. You still have a responsibility to the public at large.
And I did a story about that about a couple months ago, where a cop was on a high-speed pursuit in a chase of a high-profile suspect. Unfortunately, an innocent person was killed in the matter at hand. Yes, they did get the suspect, but the fact was, when you're on a high-speed, even a high-speed pursuit, you still got to be aware of your surroundings. And the fact this officer goes back to work is just mind-blowing. All right, I'm out of here. My job. Peace out.